Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about the sociological imagination. I know we had an assignment due last week about the sociological imagination. Some of you completed it, others have not. I'm hopeful this video, if you've already completed it, you'll find this helpful, just kind of confirm what you understand. And if you haven't completed it, it'll help you feel that sense of, I can get started on the project. Because I know it is reading a classic reading. It can be a challenging reading. And then there's also the worksheet questions to complete and turn in. So the work, The Sociological Imagination, is in fact based on the book, The Sociological Imagination by C. Wright Mills. And there's a few key areas that I want to go over that are in our reading, and they're right at the beginning of the book. So at that point, like Mills is setting up, why is he telling us about the sociological imagination? What are the things that came up for him that prompted him to develop this idea? So he goes on to tell us that there is some rapid change, but this is even before he does so in the reading. And one of his main things is he's trying to say to us is that people live individual lives, but we need to be connecting our experiences to society in some way. So this sentence, it's actually the third paragraph in the book, yet men do not usually define the troubles they endure in terms of historical change and institutional contradiction. The well-being they enjoy, they do not usually impute to the big up and downs of the societies in which they live. So here he's saying is that the personal troubles that we might experience, and he goes on to describe those later, but the personal troubles that we experience and that in our life, we don't normally link them to historical change and institutional contradiction. So if people are doing well, if they have well-being, they don't usually think about how that could be connected to whether the society is doing well or if the society is doing not so well. So he says here, the big up and downs in the society in which they live. So there's his first helping us understand, make that connection to society. Later on, a few more paragraphs in, Mills defines the sociological imagination. The sociological imagination enables its possessor to understand the larger historical scene in terms of its meaning for the inner life and the external career of a variety of individuals. And this next sentence is one that I go back and read a lot because it's a bit challenging to understand. It enables him to take into account how individuals in the welter of their daily experience often become falsely conscious of their social positions. So how individuals in the welter of their daily experience become falsely conscious of their social positions. So this part is talking about how individuals in the busyness and the activities of the day, we often become falsely conscious of our social position. We're focused on our personal social position, but we are not making the link to how society is also involved. He tells us later, the sociological imagination enables us to grasp history and biography and the relations between the two in society. That is its task and that is its promise. He introduces the idea of history, which is related to the social structure, to the history of society. And he's also talking about biography. And biography is our own personal life, our life story. So whatever you've come to achieve or the beliefs that you have about your own personal world, those are the parts of our biography. So, and he says, no social study that does not come back to the problems of biography, of history, and of their intersections within a society has completed its intellectual journey. So you need to be able to make that connection between the individual and the society in order to look carefully enough to do thorough social study. He goes on to tell us more, and he defines troubles. So earlier on, one of the first paragraphs or sentences I read was about troubles. And troubles are individual, and it's defined here. It's within the character of the individual and within the range of their immediate relations with others. So it's that when we're talking about troubles, we're talking about something that's related to one of us personally. And then issues is also defined. Now, issues is also stated as public issues in this reading. So here it says, issues have to do with matters that transcend the local environment of the individual and the range of their inner life. And they have to do with the organization of many such milieu into the institutions of a historical society as a whole. So he uses the word milieu a few times, and milieu means a setting or a place or an environment. And the next section that I'm going to read also has to do with milieu. Now, I don't think this is in the numbered reading that I've given you, but it's something that I think can really help make that connection of self and society. What we experience in various and specific milieu, I have noted, is often caused by structural changes. Accordingly, to understand the changes of many personal milieu, we are required to look beyond them. So he's saying that a specific milieu, which is one that it's related to us specifically, is really caused by structural changes. So he really is leaning heavily on this idea of the history of society. And then he's saying that to understand how many personal environments change, we're required to look beyond those individual environments. We're required to look to the structure of society and the institutions there. So I hope this is helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.